We've been considering a series for the past 3 months where we're looking at the road to wealth. We're looking at different approaches to building wealth, from garnering riches. And the interesting thing about wealth is that it's more or less a universal desire. Everybody wants to be wealthy. Maybe not everybody, but almost everyone actually desires to have wealth. So, we sort of started this series to try to bridge the gap between that desire and the reality. So we sort of try to bridge the gap between desire and reality by showing or sharing certain tips and time-tested principles that people who are considered as experts in the field of wealth accumulation and wealth creation have shared with us over time. And I think the past 2 editions, we particularly looked at what is regarded even till today as a classic in terms of wealth creation. We actually reviewed a book titled The Richest Man in Babylon, The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. And we looked at different approaches that he exposited in that book for anyone who desires to be wealthy. We first looked at some very thought-provoking thoughts that he actually he penned in that book. And then the last month, August, we looked at 7 principles that George S. Clason propounded as the steps that, if religiously or dutifully followed, they would actually guide anyone who desires wealth to attain it. And this is the 29th edition of Thrive. I think, yes, the 29th edition of Thrive with Babs is a gathering that we've been having since 2016, thereabout, either 2016 or 2018. And we've been pretty consistent with it. When we started, we were doing it physically, but then we stopped. And then after COVID, we just migrated and we now render it fully online. And it's even fully online because, I'm not even physically present in Nigeria to say, okay, maybe we'll be talking of gathering people to a particular place for us to discuss. So I think exigencies and development sort of just help us to just center on this online version of Thrive. And going forward, we are actually looking at this, or if you now decide to maybe to do maybe physical session, that may be later on. That will be maybe as part of our strategic plan, if that would augur well with that. So the topic we're looking at today, as a part of the Road to Wealth series, is titled How to Acquire Clean Wealth and Retain It. How do you acquire clean wealth? And how do you retain clean wealth? And as I said, it's 29th edition. And part of what topics that we've covered in times past on Thrive, as we always do, because we always look at some of these 4 slides, we've looked at various topics over the course of the years. Self-identity and definition, we started with that. Then we did a 4-part series on purpose. And then we also consider what we call 3-step leap. How do you get to where you are how do you get to where you ought to be, or where you desire to be from where you are? I'm here, I'm in East, I want to get to the West. What are the 3 steps or 3 leaps I need to take to get there? And then the missing link, if things are not working, and you've done everything you're supposed to do, what could have been the missing link? What is the missing link between, in terms of, I've done everything, I've ticked all the boxes, done all I'm supposed to do, yet I'm not getting results. What could be the missing link? And then we also looked at strategic positioning for success. How do you position yourself for success? As a person, as a professional, in whatever areas you desire success, how to become a valuable person. How do you become a person of value? Somebody that people would like to be around, people would like to consult, people would like to have in their networks. How do you become that kind of person? Then we also looked at becoming and unbecoming. What are the interplay of other people in our lives that help us to become or help us to unbecome? So we either become by virtue of having certain people in our lives, or we also unbecome by virtue of having certain people in our lives. So that should help us to know who to have in our circle and who to have in our network. Then we did how to write attention-grabbing reports. Then we also looked at conceive, build, and sustain. I'm trying to see. Let me see if I can. At the go up you are here, I would like to make you a co-host to reduce the distraction and then read so that it can be faster having people join us. I think I saw bit here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Now that is done. So then we looked at conceive, build, and sustain. How do you conceive ideas of fanciful things you want to do? How do you build an entity, and how do you sustain them? And then when we started online, we started with the session, how to turn setbacks into success. How do you turn setbacks? All of us in life, we encounter setbacks at various times in our lives. How do we turn the setbacks into a system of success? So that's when we started the online version. And then from there, we also, what is the one thing you need to do to become a great person in life? And then we looked at a 3-part session on a series on destiny. Destiny. All of us, we've had it before. How do you achieve destiny? And what is your role in achieving your own fulfilling your own destiny? So we did a 3-part session on that, and then we also looked at another part 1 and 2 sessions on from values to greatness. How do you turn your values into greatness? For the new friends in the house, we have a new set of interns. I had a session with them on Thursday where we looked at this from a writing point of view, from a writing perspective. How do you use your value to determine your authorial niche or writer's voice? But we had initially looked at that as a system of success. How do you turn your values to a system of success that we did on Thrive? And then, how do you create something out of nothing? Or how do you make one to become plenty? Then we look at the dynamics of calling, how to design and utilize feedback, while we suffer in the midst of plenty. I'm sure some of us will have experience in this area. How come there's so much in the land, and yet we are suffering? How to recognize and maximize opportunities, and then the road to wealth. The past 2 sessions, we've looked at how to start from nothing. All of us, we desire wealth. So how do I start from ground zero? And that's what we discussed at the last 2 sessions of Thrive. And, in terms of justification of the materials we use on Thrive, the Bible is essentially one of our main literature that we use. And as I always say, Bible is used as a literature not as a religious material that we're using to preach or sermonize at anyone, but as a reference in terms of principles, in terms of tips and all that. And why is that so? Because it's one of the oldest books around, one of the oldest piece of literature you will see around. Not many literature have survived. I mean, that we can say we have to today, and it's one of the oldest. I won't say it's the oldest. It's one of the oldest because I think I mentioned in one of the tribe sessions, or this tribe won't be the plenary. People didn't realize they didn't know about Asia. They didn't know about civilization in Asia and India until much later. Meanwhile, while all those instances were reading the Bible, were reading the Quran, they had their own lives, even dating as early as God knows how many BCs. But the explorers then did not know that life existed then, even when Christopher Columbus just maybe it's a bush and they just passed. They didn't know that there was such a massive civilization going on in that part of the world, Asia. So by the time they eventually now still got to, and they too, because I think they too, they didn't really, they were pretty inward in their lifestyle. They didn't explore that like the Europeans. The Asians were pretty inward. They didn't go out like that. So people didn't get to meet them as they should. It was later on that and I started hearing about Asia. I mean, if you are reading the account of Paul the apostle who had something to do there, that's when there was now a mention of Asia. But they've had their own civilization, they had their own religion, they had their own lifestyle that they've had as many, many, many years, even as dating as even the prehistoric era. So, but so they had their own literature as well. So that's why I said, okay, Bible is also one of the oldest of such literature that have survived over time, and then it's very universal in its applicability. Most of the lessons there are applicable to all of us. I mean, is it greed? Is it corruption? Or is it bad governance, good governance? All those things that we deal with on a daily basis, they are there for us to learn from. There are references and models that we can always learn from. And then some of those things we can relate to them because, yes, there are things that we see in our day-to-day life. And then so to now recap the last session, as we always do, when we talked about what are the 7 steps to accumulating wealth, and we looked at 7 basic principles, simple, easy, things that are common to us. And I shared some of my own experience from the take home at the last session. And I said today, I'm going to listen to some of us who might have done some of the take home that we mentioned at the last meeting. So we talked about saving. If you want to build wealth, you start from saving. Start from saving. You have to learn the discipline of saving for you to be able to even build wealth in the first place. And then you have to also learn the discipline of budgeting, fiscal management, financial prudence. And then you have to also be savvy in terms of how you invest. Where do you invest? And when you are investing, play safe. Always invest in something or an endeavor that your principal is secure. The amount you are putting in is secure. If anything, if something crashes, you will still get your principal back. Whatever saving or whatever investment you are involving in, always ensure that you take that play safe mantra, that your principal, you will get it back no matter what. And then mortgage is also a very good way of building wealth, because all of us, if I imagine how much you pay to landlords and landladies, that when we rented a house, But some of those money, they are better used maybe to even buy a plot of land and then start developing it over time. Some of those money, by the time you start to tend your own land, your own plot, and all that, before you know it, you will build something reasonable that you can now be beautifying over time. But it's too much, it's too but you have some of those money. But there are also very shrewd schemes, maybe pay small kind of thing that you can actually start. I know there are all manners of them in Lagos at the moment that any of us can actually even, not even in Lagos, in different parts of the country, that any of us can subscribe to. And then you get it. The same with properties that you pay it forward. Once you know that, okay, you are paying it forward, you are able to, okay, you have committed yourself to paying this amount monthly, nothing would. And most of us Africans, particularly, people in the third world, we pay what they call black tax. You have parents, you have siblings, you have uncles, you have aunties, you have friends who are calling you, texting you, asking for money here and there. But we pay all, by the time you finish paying all those, even we don't have any for ourselves again. But the point is that once you've committed yourself to that certain investment, you are actually now paying it forward, because no matter what, if you don't meet up with that investment, you are in trouble. So you have to pay that one first before you can even start considering what to give to others. So that is where you actually just secure yourself from those black taxes that we all pay here and there, because you know that you, at the end of the month, you must pay this money, and that would actually come into your budget. And then the others, you can now sort them from what is remaining. So it's a smart way of actually getting our own property and having something to say, okay, these are our own. Then over time you can develop it as you want, but you will have saved yourself from the stress of landlord and landlady, and then you ensure your future income through insurance, life insurance for your family, and then pension for yourself when you stop working. That's why you see, I mean, it may not be so popular where we come from, but these are very sound principles of building wealth. Because when you even stop working, at least you are still sure, when you have insurance, that, I mean, when you have pension, that you will still be earning something at the end of the month, because you have already paid it forward. And then develop your capacity. That is the final tip that we considered last month. And develop your capacity. You have to give yourself the opportunity to be able to learn more so that you can earn more. The more capable you are, the more you are able to earn. In fact, according to Jim Rohn, you you earn, what you are earning is a function of your learning. What you are getting is a function of what you have become. You cannot earn more than your level of personal development. So that means it's to the extent that you have developed yourself, that you have earned, that you have learned, that you earn. So if we are struggling financially, just check your what you have learned over time. Check your learning ratio. Have I learned enough? My learning, will it position me to be a global earner, or I'm just still operating at the local level? What do you know? What skills do you have? And how will your skill actually deliver to you or deliver for you? So those are the things that we need to actually take note of in terms of those 7 principles of wealth accumulation. And then we talked about take home. How many of us uh, took time to read The Richest Man in Babylon since our last meeting? Can I see by showing of hands? How many people read The Richest Man in Babylon? That was one of our take home for last month. Nobody. Wow. Yes. So if you did not read it, how many of us practice these principles? this principle of saving. I shared my own experience last month. Okay, in terms of since the last time we talked about saving 10%, doing and budgeting, this actually was what happened. How many of us would actually put that to practice and would like to share with us what they did or how that principle has worked for them? Nobody. Okay. Oh. Okay. So this is actually some of the things that we were talking about. And I think I would just okay, so since nobody would give us, what they've done, or if they follow those principles, or if they even read The Richest Man in Babylon, who would like to? How do you get wealth? Let's learn from all of us. Let's learn from one another. How do you get wealth? Who can tell us how do you acquire wealth? Can share their insight with us about wealth accumulation.
Good evening, sir. Good evening,
Linus.
everyone. Actually, I've read The Richest Man in Babylon, and that was even before you said we should read it, I believe. And then I've actually tried practicing these 7 habits, and after listening to you in the last session, sincerely, I think I can boast of having something to always fall back to, not only in the account but even in normal piggy box that will keep aside. As, so I believe some of the ways of getting wealth is yes, there's hard work and then there's smart work. Just as you said, that in anything that you're learning, you should not just learn and not to benefit from what you're learning. Sincerely, you see, okay, like from this internship that I'm doing now, I've started writing some news for my office, and it's actually giving me something. Yeah. So you see, we make wealth from what we've learned, and we also make wealth from the wealth that we've already made. We can make it generate more wealth for us. So I say we just have to just be intentional on our saving, working with budget. You get wealth, would I say, money is not something that you just get and you just keep it. It is meant to work for you. When you put money you've worked for into work, you find out that you tend to work less because you already have working system that is bringing something back for you. That's what I can say for now, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Linus. I'm glad that okay, some of these things you are actually even putting them to use, and then you're actually seeing results. Does any other person want to share with us? How do you get wealth? How or where what other person, maybe you started using those 7 principles, and then they actually produce something for you. Anyone willing to share with us? Okay, so if nobody's talking about you, all of us actually desire wealth at some point. Or why do you want it? Why do you need what do you need wealth for? I mean, any of us can talk. What do you need wealth for? What do you want? Why do you want to be wealthy? I mean, you should ask yourself questions. And you know, somebody has said that one of the greatest questions you can ask is why? Why? Why do you want to be wealthy? What do you want wealth for? Anyone willing to share with us? There's no bad or wrong answer so far they are personal to you. Nobody, am I assuming that we actually don't want to be wealthy? That why, I mean, because I think I mentioned also last time that one of the things about it's not wealth doesn't. I think we're still going to mention it. It doesn't come to apathetic people. If you have this laissez-faire or indifferent attitude to it, you must be passionate about what you want or what you need. for it to actually answer to you. That's the way life works. And for those who are very conversant with the scriptures among us, it says that the kingdom of God suffers violence. That is, it's not the violence as in go and cut somebody's head or cut somebody's hand or leg, but violence in terms of aggression. That's the word. It permits aggression. It's only the aggressive that actually gets it. It's not violence as in violence of killing people or maiming people. That's not the kind of violence that is referring to there. So if you, in terms of wealth, either accumulation or management or retention, you've got to have some level of aggression to be able to accumulate and then retain it. You've got to have a good level of aggression. So is anybody willing to share with us why do you need, what do you want, or what do you desire wealth?
Elsa.
Okay, please, ready out.
So to finance the kind of life I want.
Yeah, I mean that's as simple as it is. All of us desire good life. I'm not sure there's anybody, even there's a name they call people who like to just suffer themselves. They desire good life. Everybody desires to live in a life of comfort, and that makes it pretty okay. Evelyn, please, you want to share with us as well?
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, although I wasn't here last week, but I think this question is a kind of general question that anyone can answer, and because it is personal. To me, I've always said it that I would always choose wealth over riches, because wealth is encompassing. Wealth covers a lot of things. It's not just about money. It is about having influence, having control over a lot of things. And according to even the scriptures, there are a lot of things that are made possible through wealth, through money, through a lot of things. When we look at the likes of Solomon, the likes of David, they were able to do a whole lot of things, even for God. There was a particular, I think, in the scripture where I think it's Solomon. Is it Solomon now, David, where he was sacrificing a number of cows every day or thereabouts. And this is only possible because he has wealth. So even the gospel, to share the gospel, you need wealth. To do a lot of things, you need wealth. And it reduces the kind of way people see you. There is this saying that when you check up on people, people might think that, oh, you are coming to ask them for help or something. But when you are wealthy, you're just comfortable. Like a lot of things are easy for you to do, to attain. That you are able to do a lot of things at your own, way, with ease, stress-free, and all. So I really want to make wealth.
Thank you very much for that, Evelyn. I mean, I think both of you and Roger have sort of, just captured the answers correctly. I mean, there's nothing I can say better than that. In terms of lifestyle, wealth gives you the opportunity or the leverage to live the kind of lifestyle you want. And nobody can actually question your lifestyle. I mean, I want to be traveling every week. So far, you have the money to do it. Why not? You do it. I want to sleep for half the day and then work for the next 12 hours. If you have enough wealth to you do it. I mean, wealth gives you that opportunity to be able to live the kind of life that you actually dream for yourself. And all of us, except we are being petty about the truth, all of us have an idea about how we want to live, how we want to be. All of us, we have, but because of exigencies, maybe the realities are not matching our expectations or our dream, we have to do things that normally we wouldn't want to do because we have to make ends meet. And from Evelyn's own perspective, money makes you useful, really. Money is useful to yourself, to be useful to God, to be useful to people, the society, you need money. And I think what she was also referring to, there's a particular scripture that says that money answers all things. All things, just mention it. What do you want to achieve that you can't with money? Human beings were able to go to space, explore the moon because of money. If there was no money to put all those structures together, yes, there was desire, there was dream, but if there is no resources, I mean, it will just remain a dream that will just continue to be dreamt about without it coming to pass. So with money, and now people are even, apart from the astronaut that actually even went, people are not even going on what they call it, on tourism, space tourism. Space tourism, I don't know where I read, is it weekly or monthly? And you have the money you pay, and it's not as if it's even one mega amount like that. It's not, that you want to go on space tourism, you just pay, and this company will take you there, you explore, see the moon, see all the universe, and you come back. And it's only for those who can afford it. So, money makes you, okay, you want to be able to give sacrifice to God or help people, you need money. Want to be able to do things you need. So it's very important. It's a very important aspect of life. And fortunately or unfortunately, is the way we actually assessed. Is the way all of us, the way success have been assessed in us. Your success is tied to your net worth. That's the way the world is. What is your net worth? Oh, that's how successful the world looks at you. And so, we can say, okay, but that's not me. It shouldn't be true. But the point is that you're actually operating on this planet. All of us are on this planet Earth. That is the metric for measuring success on planet Earth. So you need it. You need it to be able to make yourself relevant, to make yourself useful to people and to the system. So let's pause and ponder about this. And as I adding this to the Thrive sessions we have, and just to something to us to think about, most of us, if we actually only wish for wealth, unfortunately, the cord of wishes is not strong enough to pull money. Wishes alone cannot attract money. Money doesn't answer to wishes. It doesn't answer to whining, murmuring, complaining. Only those who desire wealth attract it, because the pool of desire is always propelling you towards action, and action in the direction of your desire. When it's desire, is stronger than wishes, is stronger than wants. All of us want, when we want money, don't we? We need it even. And it's not even based on what you need, it's based on what you desire. Once you desire something, there is that pull, there's that strong element about desire that will propel action, intelligent action. Maybe some not so intelligent, but at least it makes you to do something towards the direction of what you want, towards the direction of what you desire. And it's something that we need to ask ourselves. Am I wishing for money? Am I wishing for wealth? Or I actually desire it? Am I just wishing because money is important and I wish it? Or do I actually desire it? Check yourself, check the way you go about pursuing it. It will tell you if you're actually wishing or you're actually desiring it. And then, so today, the topic we are looking at is still wealth accumulation in our series on Road to Wealth. And we are looking at how to acquire and retain clean wealth. Clean wealth. Now, that suggests that some wealth may not be clean. Some wealth may be tainted, may be stained, may be corrupt, and we all know. I mean, living in Nigeria, we know what it means. I mean, you see so many people doing all manners of things to make money, but we know, and with some of them, we know that this money that they made is not as if they made it through legitimate sources. Some of them have to kill people in ritual purposes so they could make money that doesn't last. Some of them have to steal, embezzle, steal money that belong to the people and appropriate it for themselves, for their families. We know them. But does that mean that people cannot acquire wealth through clean and legitimate means? No. So, and that is what we are looking at today, how to acquire and retain clean wealth. And because clean has now become our keywords, I just took some time to look at the dictionary definitions of clean. And the first thing it says that it's free from debt, from marks or from stains. That is a money source that is free from debt. You don't have to do any dirty things. It's not as if you cannot do dirty works. You can do dirty works to earn money. But you know what I mean by dirty things. I mean, or stained means of income, when you have to lie, when you have to do things that are not considered to be ethical. And then morally uncontaminated. That means in terms of moral standards, that source of money is pure, is innocent, is clean. It's not something that anybody can point fingers at. Hey, I know he stole money from here. Or I know he actually cheated, he embezzled money, he added zero or multiple zeros to certain number or something, whatever, to get the wealth. When it's showing no or having no record of offenses or crime, there's no crime, there's no offense, no offense in accumulating that kind of wealth. And when, I mean, the person getting the wealth played or actually did all they did playing by the rule, according to the book. There's nothing to be to be shameful about, because it's pretty straightforward. And when it's informal, in terms of not possessing or containing anything illegal, no drug dealing, no stolen goods, just to get we're looking at clean. And then when it's free from irregularities, it has a smooth edge or surface, or it has a simple, well-defined, pleasing and shit. There's nothing to worry about, to doubt about, to accuse anybody of, or to castigate anybody on account of, in terms of getting that source of wealth. So these are definitions of clean, and then we are benchmarking, or we are approximating it with wealth. So that means wealth that is gotten from sources that are free from debt or stain, that are not polluted or unpleasant, that is not morally contaminated, that is pure, the source is pure, is innocent, is clean. There's no record of offenses or crime in the course of getting or accumulating it. And then it's free from irregularities. There's nothing that you can actually accuse or point fingers at. I'm sure all of us desire that. Because that is the kind of wealth that gives you a level of credibility. So if I ask you, where can one get a source of wealth that matches those definitions? Anybody willing to share with us? Anyone willing to share? Where, based on our definition of clean, impure, clean, pure, honest, integrous kind of, where can we get it? Where can we get it from? No, there's no wrong answer, as I say. So it's anybody is willing to, is able to just share the insight with us. Anyone? Anyone? Or should I call somebody's name? Let me look.
Sorry.
Okay, please.
Yes, sir. I believe we can make clean and legal wealth from the works of our hands. Things we do with our hands, we apply our brain. Like, let's say a job we've taken and then we deliver perfectly, and then the reward for it is a clean way of making wealth, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Linus, for that. From the work of your hands, something you do legally with your own hand to make money, and you can build a source of wealth for. I mean, from there. Any other person willing to share with us? Okay, Winga, please go ahead. You have to mute yourself. You are muted, so you have to mute yourself to talk. Okay. Somebody else willing to talk with us? I think maybe his network or so. Okay, Evelyn.
Okay, I think we can get wealth through wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Gathering
Okay.
knowledge and having wisdom of how things
Okay.
work.
Thank you, Evelyn, for that. So, with from Linus's perspective, we do the work of our hands, and then from Evelyn's own perspective, through wisdom, through knowledge, and through understanding, when we deploy these very valuable resources or acumen, we are able to accumulate wealth. Benga, if you can talk now, you can talk, or otherwise we just proceed.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, I had my Zoom itself on mute. That was why. So I had to go
Okay, I'm
on
seeing
mute.
you
So yes, sir. What I feel to generate wealth or to have wealth, because me, my own thought of on wealth is something massive. So it works when you grow it, when you put all your thoughts, all what you've learned, and then try to, build wealth. But I still feel like one of the ways people make wealth actually is, of course, through trust fund and inheritance, where they grow up into it just happens for them, and then and that's it for them. It's one of those ways. And
Yeah,
yes,
sure.
that's it
I
for me.
mean,
Yes,
that's
sir. So that's
actually
my
another very good answer, because I mean, you're talking of there are some people that were just born into wealth. And I mean, I'm sure all of us desire that. Our parents were mega rich people. For those who follow this, the royal families. I mean, particularly, the most popular, popular ones is the British monarchy. You just look at those. These boys, they were just born into wealth, and that is not as if they had to do anything to accumulate the kind of wealth. So, and that that their wealth is actually clean, because it's not as if there's anybody. I mean, it's okay. Maybe they stole money. I mean, they have, by virtue of the monarchy, they own vast array of estates, and that comes with money. I mean, if you look at the the Queen was one of the richest women in the world in terms of her estate. And now the king, by virtue of inheritance, and then the sons also by virtue of inheritance, they actually also wealthy. So, but so that's another source of getting clean wealth. It's not illegal, even though some people may actually start to do illegal stuff. But I mean, generally is a source, the source that gives you clean wealth, inheritance. And then trust fund. We also mentioned trust fund for those who are savvy, who know how to invest, or to set aside money for the future. And that money is working for you. That's one of the principles taught by George Clason, that you put money in an endeavor that you know about, really, and that money will be working for you. That it's not as if you just earn money and then you say you save it. When you save to a point, let the money now start to work. So not just to be building, saving. No, put the money that the money has, what the money has, savings has done, put it into something and let it now start to that. Even the children of that saving should also be working for you to be generating money. And the more you diversify your investment or your portfolio that way, the more you actually build wealth. The more you actually build wealth. But there's one source, really, that all of us are those that dream, those that wish, those that desire, those that want it. There's a particular source that we can get wealth from. And just like I said, the past editions we've looked at that classic on wealth accumulation, but now we are looking at another classic, and this time around we are looking at what the scripture says. And I said, when I'm talking in terms, I'm not looking at it in terms of a religious treatise. We're looking at it in terms of a literature, a reference. And there's a particular verse that actually struck me. I mean, and the funniest thing is I didn't even know this was the topic we're going to take this at this edition. I was still thinking of, we'll still do another, because there's another book I want us to also review. But I was I think I was reading the Bible with my family during the weekend. That word just hit me in a fresh, and Mary had asked earlier the topic. I said I will get it, but after that session, this is the topic that we need to talk about. And I try to listen to my spirit. Maybe I don't always do that, but I try to listen to my spirit when my spirit is telling me something. So, and this particular scripture of the Bible says that, and you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant which is sought to your fathers as it is this day. Pardon, apologies to those who are non-Christians, who don't even have maybe any, some of us don't have any religion. I used to be like that. I wasn't a Christian, I wasn't a Muslim, when I first entered campus, my second year on campus, I just became very rebellious. And so if anyone was talking to me about Bible, I wouldn't listen. When we were talking about Muslim, I wouldn't listen. So I was just myself, and I was living my life until I had to now, consider my stand and then take that. So I realized there are some people like that. So, but we're looking at, it says it is God who gives power to get wealth. Now, two words were underlined in this particular passage. The first is power. The second is get. And the receiving end is wealth. And then I sort of deconstructed that passage. Who gives the power? Who is the giver? The giver in this regard is God. The giver in this regard is God. It is God that gives the power. And what is power? We know, generally speaking, we hear that knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So God gives the knowledge, the insight, the information required to get wealth. And that power to do what? Power to get. Power to get. Power to get. Power to get it. And how do you get something? You get it by answering some of those things that we've said when we were talking, by applying your information, the knowledge that you have acquired. And because I'm a literature major, that's why I can be talking this way, because I actually deconstructed that passage. God is the giver. Knowledge is power. So that means God gives you knowledge. God exposes you to information inside opportunities to get, to acquire, to develop, to accumulate wealth. And how do you get wealth? How do you get it? You get it by applying your knowledge, applying what you know. We just talked about trust fund. Trust fund is an application of knowledge. I'm sure if you ask every one of us, some of us will not even know what it means. But when you have the knowledge about that aspect of wealth accumulation, it serves you. It serves you. When you actually know what it's like to be able to demonstrate, just like Evelyn said, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, it serves you in building and accumulating wealth. And here are some examples of people who actually, I just said to use three. Claim wealth. Claim that it's not, you can't say this. King Solomon, we all know, and I'm glad one of us mentioned it. I think he really mentioned it. Who lived between year 1010 to year 1931. You know, they usually count the BCE era. BCE means before Christ era. They usually count that down from when they started taking note of calendar. And whose wealth today, in terms of modern time, is estimated to be $2.1 trillion. How did Solomon get his wealth? How did he get it? And how do you get it? You get it by asking. He asked. When God asked, what do you want? He asked God for understanding, insight. God gave him. You get by asking. You get by exploring. And that exploration is an aspect of asking. You get by exploring, by asking. Solomon asked and he got it. Till today, there's nobody that is as rich as he was. Nobody has beaten his record of wealth just by asking. And then America's first millionaire in America, John D. Rockefeller, who said to have given over 500 million in his time, $500 million to charities, over 500 million. He was the first to own the Standard Oil. I mean, there's no Standard Oil today, but he was first to own that massive monopoly of oil. It was an oil magnate. Same wealth. But when the American government, this guy was becoming richer than even the country, they had to break that monopoly, break that is company, and that's where you now start having the likes of ExxonMobil, Total, all those. They actually came out from Standard Oil. One person, clean wealth, clean sources of wealth. He was building wealth because he was a devoted person to his faith. That's why he could give over $500 million. He was a devoted man. He was a man close to God. But he asked God, and God gave it to him. John D. That's America first. And today, in terms of if they are adjusted, because I did this research, if the Standard Oil is adjusted for after inflation, the worth of that that conglomerate is $1.4 trillion today. $1.4 trillion after adjusting for inflation. One person, though the company is no more, but it was that rich, it was that great, clean. And then a very interesting one, this one was even a black man, George Washington Carver, who had 300 patents. 300 patents, from most of them from peanuts. He was a peanut man. And he had over 300 patents. He was a black guy. And there was a time the Senate, the lawmakers in the US invited him. Say, Mr. Carver, Dr. Carver, how do you get this? Because he kept registering and he said that peanuts, how can somebody just make so many products from peanuts? Peanuts that some of us will just, and then over 300. He said he has a place, his laboratory is called God's little room, that he just asked the person that created peanuts. He said he just asked the person that created peanuts and he showed him. So he asked God, and God will show him what to do with the peanuts. And this guy was making inventions. Turning peanut that all of us are so common to us, turning it around into something that now became unique. 300 person. Many of us will probably die without even a patent to our name. But somebody has 300, what it means. Registered all over the world as this is the person that registered this. About Thomas Edison. And these are deeply, deeply spiritual men who knew God. Is it Solomon? Is it Rockefeller? Is it George Washington? Is it Thomas Edison? Who had the greatest of patents among all of them? They were close to God. These were devoted men. So the key to getting that wealth, just like that passage says, is to ask. Ask of your intelligence. Ask of him who actually gives it. Ask of yourself. When you ask yourself, you start a journey that will lead to discovery of many things that were either too unknown to you. Ask. Solomon asked, John D. Rockefeller asked, George Washington Carver asked, Thomas Edison asked. I've forgotten the name of his own lab room now. All of them, they have this fanciful name they call them, where they get their inspiration from. So where do you get yours from? Because wealth is not something you can't have this kind of indifferent or passive attitude towards it. No, you must be passionate about that thing you want. You must be passionate about it. You must be deliberate about it. It doesn't come to wishes. So the take home that I would like us to think today, we've looked at, and as I said, this wasn't even planned at all. It wasn't. I was thinking that we will look at the next book. I was thinking, planning for us to actually consider is that of forgetting this. Also, another classic in terms of wealth building, and I'm seeing the name. I'm seeing the author right in my eyes. We read 2 books in the house before I traveled. Forgotten what's the second book that we review together in the family then. Genga.
Yeah, I'm here, sir, but I'm trying
That
to
second book.
remember.
Gosh. Okay, that's actually the book I was thinking. It's also another classic. I'm sure all of us will read that Poor Dad. It just came now. Read that Poor Dad. That's the one I was actually thinking, okay, we'll also explore in terms of seeing the principles for wealth building and accumulation in that, and we are going to be looking at that. But this just came, like, I didn't even see this way, that the way to get it, God has to give you the power to get it. Power, knowledge is power. Knowledge. So God gives all of us knowledge. All of us that are participating there, we are actually seeking knowledge in terms of how to build wealth, how to accumulate wealth. Even me, I'm looking for that kind of, maybe not the kind of ones that all these people, because it comes, some pressures, but at least I can actually have wealth and then maybe go all around the world where I want to. I have a list of countries I also want to visit in the world. And I have my list given by my wife anyway. So we have a list of where we want to travel to, but before to travel, you need to plan very well. You need the resources. So, when you have that, you're able to do as many things as you want to do, but we need power. Power is, information is power. We need information to get it, and you get by asking. So ask of yourself, what are the information I need to be able to get the kind of wealth I need or I desire? And please note, it doesn't answer to wishes. Remember our pause and ponders, it doesn't answer to wishes. It's not by wishing, it's not by dreaming, it's not even by listing. Where I was saying I listed, it's not by list. You can list. If you don't put power to your list, it won't happen, it won't work. It's by desiring, and when you desire propels you to action, to do something. So that is what we have to our discussion today. For those of us who are joining for the first time, we have a community where I think it's mostly for sharing the quotes, some of my thinking, some of my thoughts, my meditation, and all that. Mary helps us to manage that community. This is a short link, this is a long WhatsApp link, but if you type this bit.ly.thrivers, it will take you right into that group. So we can take the discussion further. For the take home today, we will see it there. And I want us to go and read, because power to get wealth, power, information, in terms of disconstructing that. Power is information, gives you information. It's not the power of using muscle. And I like the fact that Linus talked about that. It's not just muscle power, please. You can even imagine, all of us are here. You can imagine people working on the construction sites, those who are carrying those bricks going up and down. How much do they make compared to those who actually give them the job, or the architect who actually has the project? So it's not the muscle power, it's not the power, it's the intelligence, the mental power, the information you have that you are asking, that you are getting, that you are applying. So please, let's take some time to read about these three men that we talked about today. King Solomon, explore it again. What was the secret? John D. Rockefeller. I'm sure all of us have heard that name. If you don't have to go and Google it. That's America's first millionaire. And he wasn't just even wealthy. He was even getting wealthier than the country. They had to now break his monopoly. They had to break the monopoly of his company. So that, it would now become a national security risk to the country. And then George Washington Carver. Very interesting story about this man. A black man, son of a slave, who had 300 patents just by asking. He said they will ask, they have to call him to the Congress to come and say, Dr. Carter, where do you get all this stuff from? He said, I only ask the owner of the peanut. Because, I mean, they didn't create peanuts. They didn't create peanuts. It was just turning something that God had already made into something else. And he had over 300 patents just from one natural resource, natural seed. That's amazing. Okay, let's identify, is there any comparison among them? And if there's any differences. So that is our session for today. Thanks for listening. Is there any question, please? Question? Anyone question? Question. Okay, Amos, please ask a question. Then Maxwell, please, you can unmute yourself and then ask.
Okay. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can hear you loud and
okay,
clear.
good. Yeah, good evening, sir, and happy Sunday to you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for this, can I say lecture, or what do I call it now?
Yeah.
This is the first time of attending this type of session, but I would like to ask from the recap of last week, of the last session that talks about steps to wealth creation or accumulation rather.
Okay.
And the first point there was save. Saving.
Yeah.
Now, that is what we call vicious cycle, vicious poverty cycle or something like that.
Okay.
That talks about low income, low saving, low investment, then back to low income. Now, when what you are earning is not enough, let's use Nigeria for example now. Nigerian workers, you are earning 50, 60,000 per month, for example. And before the end of the month, the money is gone.
Yeah.
By the time you are paid your salary, the first 3 days or at most a week, the whole of salary is gone. Sir, how do you save? Let alone invest from that salary.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much for that, Amos. Does anybody want to answer that question from those who were part of before we hear from Maxwell? Anybody from who were part of the last 2 sessions we had? Okay, Chukuma, please. Is it a response to that question, or you have your question of your own?
It's in response to that question, sir.
Please. Okay, please.
The idea of saving from a job cannot lead to wealth. If I understand the principles we have been following so far, I believe that the idea here is that in addition to whatever one is doing, any salary, that one's wisdom or understanding should be able to help one to acquire something more that's actually exceeds the monthly salary. For example, somebody brought a difficult task to me. That was last year. There was this Chinese boy who was very intelligent, but kept on failing English language. And I observed that when I had an encounter with him, he wasn't really interested. In fact, he couldn't piece a sentence together. But somehow, I also got to find out that if I could make headway with him, there could be some other inflow of extra cash coming in. And that was exactly what happened. After I did that with him, I just discovered that from here and there, somebody has called me and said, okay, can you prepare somebody for SAT? And I said, I have not done that before. And the person said, if you could teach a Chinese boy to actually pass WAEC, well, definitely you can. So it is actually not just the salary. If we actually go by salary, definitely we should not be on this platform. If it is because of salary, this platform is not for us. But I think this platform is actually saying beyond what if we are salary earners beyond our salaries? Can we actually look at some other hands-on experience that we can use to attract wealth? I think that is the idea, sir.
Thank you very much for that, Chukwuma. Does anybody else have anything to add to that before I talk? Any other person? Then we hear from Maxwell. Okay, I like the fact that you started with a very fundamental principle, Amos. That vicious cycle of poverty is very. Do you know? I just heard it for the first time this year. This is the first time I heard it for the first time this year, early this year. It's a vicious cycle. People who don't earn enough don't save enough. And because they don't save enough, they can't invest enough. Exactly. And because they can't invest enough, they won't have enough. So it's a cycle of not enough leading to not enough. And the point is that from that book, and that's why most African countries are poor. And most Africans are also poor. Poverty is everywhere. It's a universal thing. I mean, I'm here in the US, I see poverty. So the point is that if there's anything you will take it from that book by George Clason, and he said that in like the very first chapter or the next two chapters, said that a part of all you earn is for you to keep. Either a salary or what, a part of all you earn I started singing that to myself. I'm also the kind of person who pays heavy black tax. At the end of the month, I have dependents here and there that I have to just spray money to. So, but the moment I started singing that song to myself, a part of all I earn is for me to keep. Even if it's 1,000 naira I earn, 100 naira would not leave my account. No matter the pressures that may be, I would retain that 100%. Sorry, that 10%. And because I also subscribe to the idea of tithing or charity giving, I also retain another 10. So that means at any given time, any amount that comes to me, 20% cannot leave, no matter what is going on. So the 10% I retain it for myself. 10% can go towards charity or towards tithe and all that. Then there are also other needs, others, and then the 80% can now go into that. But there's another 10% I also have to keep again for investment, for wealth accumulation and turning that has to go into to generate itself back. So, and that's why I said that if any of those who were at the last session would like to, then we talked about 70-30 principle. No matter what it is that you are earning, Amos, if it's 50,000 naira, it's your responsibility to give yourself 5,000 naira from there. That is your own money. But most of us, where we are wired, and that is why the cycle of poverty keeps whirling round and around in Africa, because all of us, Africans generally, we like to beg. That one is part of we like to beg because we've seen ourselves as developing people, poor people. We believe that if we can beg enough, if we can whine enough, if we can complain enough, if we can blackmail somebody enough, we will get the money. It doesn't always, the white don't always think that way. Don't always think that way. We believe that if we make a nuisance of ourselves enough, we will get what we want. It doesn't always work that way. And we have to also try to start adjusting our thinking. You have to learn to budget. You have to learn to plan. To learn to budget. We can't continue to be going cap in hand to the white, and we want them to be, or to our friends, to our friends, our relatives, this. That is why every day they are also poor, because people, and because emotional blackmail. After all, you are my friend. After all, you are my this, you are that. You should be able to help, and then they don't have. They will still have to give from the little they have to still be able to. We can't continue working away. You have to learn to start saving for yourself. No matter how little you earn, really, just know that a part of all you earn, at least 10%, is for you to keep. Before you can pay tithe self, because you can keep that 10% for yourself. That this one is mine, no shaking, nothing will take this money away. And see how it builds. And I shared my own experience, because it's something that I've been practicing for some time. And after that, the first session, I now came back and I shared, because by virtue of where I am and all that, I have the potential to earn either in Naira, in dollars, or in pounds. And I shared really with us at the last session how much I was able to retain in Naira for myself and for the business, how much I was able to retain in dollars for myself and the business, how much I was able to retain in pounds for myself and the business and the family. I shared those, and I shared the figures with us, so that, okay, between these 30 days, this is what I was able to do by practicing this principle, and this is how much I was able to, and I also shared how much I was able to give away, either as tithe or as charity to people who said they wanted money, because people always asking for money. You don't, even yourself, you are struggling to pay your bills. People always ask how much I was able to still give, but that give was from a budget. And I always say, if somebody comes to me for money, if I have the money, I give it. If somebody comes and I don't have money, I will just tell myself, you are not in the spirit, because if the budget I've already exhausted it, there's nothing that will make you to now go and touch the money that's been budgeted for something else, no matter the blackmail. So you have to learn to be disciplined. There's a particular scripture that says that a woman of grace, virtue, attracts, I've forgotten it, but it said that ruthless men retain riches. Ruthless doesn't mean wicked. Disciplined. You need discipline to retain money. Otherwise, the way we are naturally as people will blackmail you. They will, not as if they will say, come and, unless they will come and talk to you. After all, I'm your this. Remember, because of this. No, don't allow yourself to be blackmailed. Ensure that you budget your earning, no matter how little it is. Please, 1,000, budget it. Keep 100 naira. Give another 100 away, either as charity or as tithe. And that 100, let it go into maybe investment that you're also saving aside, and see how you build it over time. There's no source of income where you can't build wealth from. No source, either salary, either sidekick, that's what they call it, or whatever. Also, you must be disciplined, and that is where budget comes into play. Be disciplined and budget your earnings. Me, I have budget. Once any money that comes to me, immediately I spill it into all those budgets. This one is for this one is for that, this one is that, this one, and everything, it goes in that order. So if I know the one I can give away, I know the one I cannot give away, because it's meant for other things. Most of us, we don't work with budget, and that's why we don't plan. We have to place a discipline to be able to budget your spending. So you know the money you have and the ones you don't have. Hope that answers your question, Amos.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks. Maxwell, is this still here? Oh,
Yes,
sorry.
I'm still here.
Okay, please, can I ask a question?
All right. Good evening, sir. Good
Yeah,
evening, everyone.
good evening.
Yeah, my question is on the last teaching. Actually, I couldn't ask the question the last time because I was under the rain, so I couldn't operate my phone.
Okay.
You talking about investment, and one of the questions in my heart is, though I save, but I'm thinking of something in a long term
Yeah.
where I can get a reward or maybe benefit for my savings. So I don't just want to save in my bank. I also want, I know would actually yield some back to me. So how do one save? Can you give practical example? Because I don't know, maybe because I was under the rain, I couldn't hear a specific examples of how to invest, especially in the Nigerian context. So how
Yeah,
can
me.
one examples
Okay.
of investment that one can have? That's it.
Yeah, thanks for that question. I think I might have mentioned that in passing, doing that. There are, the way Nigeria is now. The beauty of it is that Nigeria is actually the best place to invest now because the currency is dropping. The currency is dropping. If you have a substantial amount, it is not even advisable. People who had, if you have substantial, they usually hedge in forex, in foreign exchange. They buy when they see that, okay, when Naira was still a bit okay, they just buy dollars. They buy dollars. And when Naira now that Naira is almost like 1,000 Naira to $1, they now sell. So that's what even was leading to a scarcity at a point because people were buying dollars, they are still buying it now. They are edging there. So, but for you to be able to do that, you need a substantial amount of Naira. But for people who are abroad, this is the best time to invest in Nigeria. Turn your $1 into 1,000 Naira and buy, and you now do that in multiples, you'll be getting $1,000, you get $1,000,000 Naira. So, but you have to be very, very, very knowledgeable about how money works. So when you can actually also see the patterns and trends. How is it going? Is it, if it's going to start, once it's rising, then you want to quickly liquidate your asset. So you need some level of financial intelligence. You study. If you want to do hedging, you do hedging. If you want to do bonds are long-term financial investment. Those ones that you over time, government bonds, no matter what, either government is government. People trade in bonds. They put money in bonds, and over time they just liquidate the asset and they sell it, and you earn money. You don't. There are some that no matter what, you can't incur a loss, and government bond is one of them. So we want to also talk of stocks and shares, but that one you also have to. There are middlemen that actually can help you to buy shares, buy stocks in companies. But you pay them a certain fee. The money is not always much. What they collect, they just collect a percentage of the amount you are putting in. Maybe what I would do, there's a company I used to work with them that used to help me to buy shares. I can drop the link in. I think I see a friend of mine who used to work there, but it's no longer there. Well, I think maybe the wife or somebody that he knows, they will, maybe you give them 1,000 Naira. I'm just using 1,000 Naira. And what you pay them maybe is like 5 Naira. When they buy you, they help you to buy stocks. They will even tell you, okay, these are the stocks that are available. You can buy for you that you are starting. You can buy the ones, but that have promises. There are certain businesses that can never, there's no business that cannot fail, but they will always make money. Manufacturing, for instance, even though Nigeria has very bad environment for production, manufacturing will always sell because the first immediate need of human being is food. So if you invest in a food business, you always make money. You always make money. See the likes of Cadbury, all those. look for, these are the, I know the prices are actually even high as well, because people will always consume food. Either you are, you bait soap that you used to bait. Some people produce it. Invest in all those PZ, all those consumer goods. They are good opportunity for you to invest to start maybe your stocks portfolio and see it build. And over time, if you want to change it, you want to sell when it's high and then buy another one. But the point is, I always invest the money back, not to collect and then have to spend. So I actually intend to also maybe call one or two experts who can talk to us about real estate and talk to us about cryptocurrency, because that's another, I mean, I don't know much about it, but one of us actually was at the first session, knows much about it, and he can tell us, okay, how do we go about this and how do you make money from there? I hope that answers your question. It may not be, but I can get the links to that shares company and then drop it. Whoever is willing to talk to them can talk to them.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other question? Our time is fast spent. I will call it a day. Okay. Thanks everyone for coming once again. Thanks to our new friends from the internship group for being with us today. We look forward to seeing you guys next month when we're talking about another aspect of wealth building and accumulation on our Road to Wealth series. So till then, have a fantastic and a fruitful week ahead.